Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and in this video I want to go over Luckin Coffee, the Starbucks of China, because recently it's having a strong rally. So I want to go over the stock and give my personal opinion on whether traders and investors should either stay away from Luckin or be hopping in. So first thing I'm going to look at here is this article that came out today, July 22nd. Luckin Coffee rises by 15% after changing the financial history. So before I even get into the article, you can't change history. When history is history for a reason. So you're changing your financial history already looks terrible for your credibility, and that's before I even get into this article. They announced that they have filed their annual report 20F for the year ended December 31st, 2017. The company has also corrected its historical financial information. For the fourth quarter of 2019, the company's total operating expenses increased almost 100% to 187 million from 109 a year earlier. As a percentage of net revenues, operating expenses decreased 200% from 234%. There may be a lot of people who believe in Luckin Coffee, and they are the Starbucks of China, and so they are going to have business. They are going to stay around. Whether or not they're going to be a good company to invest in is different, but they are going to stay around. They are going to give people their coffee, and people are going to buy their coffee. But the one thing that I've always been weary about is investing in China. There's certain companies in China that are favored to win, and usually those are the standouts. When I look at Luckin, I believe Luckin does have the potential to be one of those standouts, but as a company that has no history of showing proven financials and showing that they actually have a trusted system, is going to be very difficult to get investors to invest into this company in the long term. Can the stock price run in the short term? Of course. The stock price is not the company, and the company is not the stock price. So you always need to be able to differentiate both of those. And so when I look at Luckin Coffee, my personal opinion on this stock is that this is not a long-term investment. This is something that you can capitalize on trading, but I personally would not want this in my long-term investment portfolio. The reason why is because one, I personally want a limited exposure to China. I only want the best companies from China because I am already scared of their government. I'm scared that they can literally flip a switch and they can destroy the entire market. We've seen it in the past before. CEO Jack Ma went missing for a couple weeks. Alibaba tanked. We've seen NIO had fears of bankruptcy. It tanked all the way down to $1. All the big dogs are very vulnerable to any sort of government politics. That is very scary for a US or Canadian investor because you have really no idea what's happening behind the scenes there. And so when I look at another company, iQIYI, ticker symbol IQ, one of my best and favorite Chinese companies to invest in right now, still is getting pinned down because of the politics going on and the censorship in China. And just it's so difficult to prosper in such a strict environment. So if you aren't friends with the government, it is going to be difficult. And so how this credibility transfers to the government is something that I am not familiar with. And so just from all the stuff that I've gathered on this company, even when it IPO'd earlier and then it got almost delisted, they had a halt on the stock and you could not buy it. And so I've experienced all of these runs in Luckin Coffee for me to know that for the long term, this is not something that I want to be in. If I'm looking at the price right now, trading at $15.41, I definitely don't think this is the time to buy. And there are a couple reasons why, just based off the price action, this is way too overvalued. First thing I want to say is our RSI is extremely overbought. We're at an 80 RSI, and the first time we ran up here to 87 and we came down, we actually still never got back into our normal range. So right now, Luckin Coffee is super hot. People are hopping in. A lot of FOMO right now. The people who are buying the stock right now are in that FOMO mode, fear of missing out. If I look at our MACD has gone crazy. I do expect this to curl down at some point in the near future, very near future, and it should cross back down and we should start to see this RSI cool off. And so another thing I want to mention on this graph is we have a slight little gap to fill right here, at $9 and I would say about 30 cents here. And so I think at the very least that this whole cool off will lead us back to this level here at around $9.30. At this point in time, what I would want to see in Luckin is to see if we can hold our 50 SMAs. So if I bring this back a little bit, we had our beautiful golden cross right here, meaning whenever you get a cross of your 50 SMA and your 200, this is indicative of a longer term uptrend. And so we never really got the uptrend, but here we are right now. Our green line, our 50 SMA is above all of its SMAs. We curled right back up over our 100, still a very nice setup. And so what we want to see now is our last and final back test on our 50 SMA. And so why do we want to see this back test? If I just look right here, when we broke past our 50 SMA right here, we never back tested it. You can see we went crazy that day, and the next 3 days that followed were also very strong days. And since that point, we haven't actually had our back test. And so because I'm looking at an overbought RSI, I'm looking at a very elevated MACD, and I'm looking at a gap to fill at 930, which is very close to our 50 SMA. Right now would probably be the great time to be buying put options on Luckin Coffee. This stock could run tomorrow, it could run the next day, but in a week's time, the stock is going to start going down and this gap will eventually get filled. But when it gets filled, what you want to see as a sign of strength is if it can hold its 50. If it can hold and bounce off the 50, then that's a great time to buy some call options, buy up the share for its next little swing up. However, this is not a stock that I would advise anyone to get in as a long-term play because it's not something that I would do. I would most definitely trade this stock, and I think if this goes up one more day tomorrow, I will be pulling the trigger on some put options here with a fill price that would get us around this $9.30. And so the last couple of days, the stock has been hot. This graph looks horrendous. There's a lot of gaps that the stock has been through. It's gone through a lot of stuff. We have seen highs here of 50 on Luckin Coffee, so there's a lot of people who believe that we can get back to that point. And in China, it's just very hard to know. It's very uncertain. Investing already is very uncertain. So when you add China into it, it becomes a whole different formula that you really have no control over, which is very scary for a long-term investor. And so because of the history of fraud with this company, I don't know if it's the safest play, but it has been beaten down tremendously. We still have a larger gap to fill here at around $25. So with this stock, it could go either way. I personally would not be holding it. I would want to see a back test of our 50. But looking at this chart, we may get a gap filled here at $25 at some point in. So I will be making an update video on this stock once the price action gets back to this point right here and we get our test with our 50 SMA. From that point on, that may be a play to be having on your watch list because it has the potential to fill this gap to $25. However, that is just strictly on a technical basis, just off the charts. Fundamentally, this stock is not the most sound. This company is not the most sound. And so I just wanted to make this quick little video on Luckin Coffee. If you guys enjoyed this little video, don't forget to like. We are on the road to 10K subs. So if you made it to this point, feel free to hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. This is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.